Okay, pressure cooking. So we actually can a lot of things using the pressure cooker. We can chicken, we can meat, we can pork, chicken, turkey, hamburger, lamb. Oh yeah, we do mutton. This is hamburger meat that we canned. We canned this in 22. Uh, so if you want hamburgers, or usually we use this like in casseroles, spaghettis, and things like that, but you can can hamburgers. We actually have a video that we've already done actually going through canning it at home. So it makes it quick, man. You want to do tacos, you pour it out, you make your tacos, you're good. So we can meat, we can, here's our pork that we've done. It's already got sauce, so especially my boys, they love opening it up and they got a barbecue sandwich quick. You don't even have to heat it up if you don't want to, it's already good. We can our green beans by pressure cooker. Of course, we said tomatoes. We also do like our pie fillings to have ready for a pie. You make your crust, you throw this in, you're ready to go. You don't have to sit there and do it all. So we can all this ahead. We also can um, milk, but I like actually. Let me go back to that. I like water bathing my milk better than pressure cooking. Pressure cooking kind of makes it taste more like um, evaporated milk. No, shush, quit. Like evaporated milk. But if you water bath it, it tastes pretty close to just a pour glass of milk. So I can put my process on that. I actually like it better water bath. I've done both ways. I also can butter. Now, when you can butter, if you've never done that, this is canned butter. I love canned butter because it actually almost tastes like movie theater popcorn butter. I am spoiled. I'm serious. Like this stuff is the bomb. Huh? Oh, I know. This is so good. Okay, we are going to do the process. I'm going to set this over here. And Mackenzie is going to take us through the steps of how to can green beans. These were actually done in 2019. Okay, so when you pressure cook, and I have two, this is actually a bigger one that you can actually double stack pints in. I don't use it very often, but it's nice to have if you want to do, I think what, you get 18 in here? We double stack. And, and so a pressure cooker, I better do this real quick. A pressure canner, sorry, has this bottom rack in it, just like that has a different rack. It's got to be up and above. It comes with a weight. There are a couple of different styles. You can have one with the dial, or you can have one that has the weights and it sits there and swivels. Okay, I'm not going to watch that swivel, so I like the dial. And once you learn your stove, you'll know exactly where it sits. Every year, when it's canning season at the beginning, I kind of check my seal to make it sure it all looks good. I make sure this pop-up valve will move, make sure it's not stuck or need to be clean. And like this one hasn't been cleaned yet, but anyway, and I make sure everything looks good on it before I start canning. But anyway, when you get ready to pressure cook, can, whatever you want to say, you got to put water in the bottom of your canner, but you're not going to put it full. You want about 2 inches of water, maybe between 2 and 3. It depends. If you're canning meat, I'll do about 3 inches just because it's going to be processing for 90 minutes. If I do just tomatoes or green beans, I'll put about 2 inches of water in there. In the bottom, I'll do the same thing that I did in the water bather. I'm going to put a little splash of vinegar in here to make sure it don't cloud my jars. And if I'm using this more than once, like I get my jars out, I'm going to use it again, I'm going to put another splash of vinegar in there because it will dissipate using it so much. So I make sure that I have it in there.
This this is it's about 2 inches off of the rack, right? The book says put 3 quarts in. 3 quarts is all the water you need, according to the book, right? The Presto book. When you do that, it's only about 1.5 inches of water without the rack from the bottom. And like she says, the more you can, depending on how long you're going, you want more water. You don't ever want it to run out of water.
Mm-mm.
It'll mess up the pressure canner. So
2 inches with the rack out.
2 inches with the rack in is the way we usually
Mm.
do it.
And you don't have to be exact. I mean, once you do it, you'll kind of know it. Yeah.
You see, the thing you don't want with the water is you never want it to be where it's over the jars. Because as you set jars in, it will raise.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't want it over to the jars. If it is, you've got too much water. That's all I wanted to say.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So you got your water in here, and usually I'll turn this on warm. I won't have it boiling. I'll just have it kind of warm, warming the water. I got my vinegar in, and so it's ready to go. All I got to do now is do my green beans. And we're talking green beans today because a lot of people are having green beans, maybe except for you, but a lot of people are bringing green beans in and want to know how to can green beans. So you have your jars, and they are clean and ready to go. You're going to put a teaspoon of salt in quart jars. Use a half teaspoon for pints. You're going to want to put a teaspoon of salt in, and then you're going to snap your green beans, have them ready to go, washed and snapped. You're going to take a pan of water, and you're going to bring it to a boil. When you bring it to a boil, you're going to throw your snapped green beans in here, bring it back to a boil, and let it boil for 5 minutes. And all this is going to do is shrink your green beans a little bit, because as they cook, they're going to shrink. And if you just put your green beans in here and then put hot water, when you get them out, you're going to have about that much green beans because they're going to shrink. So you're going to boil them for 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, you're going to take them off, and you're going to use a slotted spoon. You got your salt, your teaspoon of salt in a jar, and you're going to fill your green beans up. And you're going to take it right there to that same rim. The only time that I will use like maybe a little more headspace is if I'm doing like pumpkin. If I'm doing like chunk pumpkin, then I'll use a little bit more headspace because pumpkin is really, really dense, and you want to be able to really get that as it steams with that pressure in there. You want to make sure that it can get in there. So usually I'll go a little bit below that line when I'm doing pumpkin. A lot of people won't recommend doing pumpkin. I've always done pumpkin because we grow our own pumpkin. I've never had any issues, but I'll chunk it. A lot of times, like if I want to use it as fresh pumpkin, I will chunk it. Yeah, they don't recommend meat either. That's true. But like I said, you don't have to do it, but this is what I do. So a lot of times what I'll do too is when you think you got it full, and this will be kind of warm because your beans are hot, if you take it like that, it frees up space and she can put more in it. So you keep putting them in there. And your brine is going to be hot still. And you're going to reserve your green bean brine because that's what you're going to use to put in here. Because your green beans were washed, so you're good to go. Yeah, so we're going to imagine that's full to this spot right here. And then you're going to take your hot brine and you're going to pour it into the jar. And then after she has her brine in there, you're going to do the same thing with the butter knife, or if you buy a kit, sometimes it actually comes with whatever it should be, but I always use butter knife. You're going to take it down the sides to make sure you have all the air bubbles out.
What did you say?
Teaspoon of salt. If you're doing pints, it's a half a teaspoon. And so she's going to take her knife and she's just going to run it down the sides to make sure all the air bubbles are out. And then when she does that, as long as it is right there, she's going to take her vinegar rag and she's going to wipe off the rim to make sure there's nothing that's going to interfere with the lid. She's going to get her magnet and she's going to get her lid and put her ring on. Like I said, I usually don't boil my rings, but yeah, I know the book says that. I don't know. My rings are clean. I don't know. You can do what you want. And then she's going to take it and she's going to put it in the pressure cooker, canner, whatever you want to call it. So this will hold 7. So let's just pretend you have all 7 green beans in there. This is warm. It's ready to go. You're going to put your lid on. There's actually arrows, so you can line it up. And you're going to close it. Okay? Now this is where people get scared, I think, is as it builds up pressure, You got your weight here. You don't want your weight on as it building up pressure. You're going to turn this on high. And you're going to, what's going to happen is it's going to start steaming out right here where you're going to put your weight. It's going to steam eventually. And you want it on high. And eventually as it steams, we start marking our time because it's got to steam for 10 minutes. Now, actually, there's this pop-up valve here that will eventually pop up. Some people will count their time from that, but we don't. You can wait if you want to wait up. That's actually what that's for. It says it's built up enough pressure. Now we're going to mark it for 10 minutes, but we just do it from the steam. Don't be confused. That's just how we do it. But the book's going to tell you to wait until this pops up. But sometimes water will come up through here, so you'll take your towel and wipe it off because sometimes water can keep it from popping up. And that's going to pop straight through like, it's going to stand up like that. See the difference? That's flat. It's going to pop up like that. Steam is going to be coming out here full blast. You mark your microwave or your kitchen timer for 10 minutes. At 10 minutes, what you're going to do is, when it's steamed for 2 minutes, you're going to put your weight. And your weight's going to look like that after years of use. That's just where it happens. But you're going to take your weight and you're going to put it on. And now, since it's pressure staying in there, it's going to build up pressure, and you're going to want it to 10 to 12 pounds pressure for green beans. Different things require different pressure. Basically, tomatoes, chicken broth, if I'm doing soups or anything like that, it's 10 to 12 pounds pressure. If I'm doing meat, I definitely want it at that 12. I don't want to flavor it. I want it right there. If I'm doing chunk pumpkin, I'm going to want it on 12. Anything else, I'll let it fluctuate between 10 and 12, won't matter. You'll learn your stove. Like I've used mine for so long, you kind of know exactly where to set it. Once it gets between that 10 and 12, you can back your stove down a little bit. Make sure it stays in between there. Usually if I'm pressure canning, one of us is in the kitchen. I don't walk off and leave it because I want to make sure it don't. Because if it goes above 10 to 12, you're going to start hearing this. This thing right here is going to start going crazy. So it kind of gives you a warning, which all you got to do, no big deal, just turn it down a little bit and it'll go back down to 10 to 12 pounds. Anybody got any questions so far? And then you're going to time it. Once it gets to 10 to 12 pounds pressure, green beans, tomatoes, salsa, anything like that, I do for 10 to 12 pounds for 25 minutes. Quarts, yes, quarts, 25 minutes. If you do pints, you can go a little bit less. But quarts, you're going to do 25 minutes. Like I said, I know a lot of people that has the weights, but you really have to watch it because it sits there and rocks, and that way, that's how you know that it's got pressure in it, stuff like that, by how it rocks. And I rather have the dial, that way I know. And I mean, I don't know, what is one like this run now? Maybe $100, $130, maybe now, I would say. Back in the day, they were really cheap. So you can replace the dials, you can replace the weights, of course, you can replace the plug, you can replace this little pop-up timer, you can replace the seal, so it's really hard for them to ruin them. So even if a seal's bad, you can, like, as old as this one is, I can still buy, especially using the Presto, I can still buy any parts that I need. So that's kind of nice.
The only way you can ruin them is if you try to can on like an outside burner that's over 12,000 BTUs. You can warp because they're thin aluminum, and you'll warp them.
Yep.
Some people, you can buy we've got a little 2-burner if you want to can outside, because it gets hot in the summer. If you're canning, just do it outside. You want to make sure it's about a 12,000 BTU burner, because you will destroy that at any higher.
Yep.
You can also can on a
glass top
stove. We've done it for years. What we suggest is look up who your manufacturer is, who made the stove, call them. Say, hey, can I use a pressure canner on the glass top? They're really great. They'll they'll tell you everything. We've done it, so it's not a problem. Gas is preferable if you're really fortunate to have one of the old coil.
Yeah, they're good.
Used to make a plate that you put over that coil to can with. So I don't.
Yeah.
I don't know about
Yeah, we've canned on electric glass top. We've canned on, like I said, gas. We've never had any issue canning on our glass top. And we've done it for years. Never.
Let me make a suggestion too. If say your last batch of green beans, you only have 5 quarts. Grab 2 quarts, put water in them, seal them, drop them in there. Now you have canned water that you can put on the shelf if you ever need water.
It's like bottled water.
So it's like
Mhm.
having, emergency water. Do that, instead of just throwing an empty jar in there. If you don't have enough jars, if you don't put a top on it, at least fill it up, set it empty because you don't want them falling over.
Yeah, and you can have I do tomatoes, green beans, all in the same thing because it's the same pound, same time, so it's not going to matter.
If you're canning pumpkin
Or
or you're
meat.
canning meat, you're going to go 12 pounds for 90 minutes. It's an hour and a half. You cannot short the time
Mm-mm.
on meat. It's so important.
And make sure you have about 3 inches of water if you're going to do meat, because if you're doing it for longer, and like I said, every time you open this up, you're going to add a little bit more water in and a little bit more vinegar because it's dissipated. So this is in here. This has been processing for 25 minutes. So what do we do now? So now what we got to do is we shut the stove off, and now you don't touch it. Your weight stays on until this completely drops pressure. You don't want to do that because you're going to blow up your jars.
Till this drops.
So you're going to want this, this right here, this little top, this is when it's going to matter. You want this to drop. When you hear that drop, then you can open it up, take your weight off, open it up, and it's going to be hot, so don't stick your face there, and because steam's going to roll out, and then you can remove your jars the same way, let them sit for 24 hours. But make sure you do not open your canner until that drops. Like you said, don't take the weight off until that drops. That's a must, or you're going to blow up your jars, or you take a good chance. Now, I have over time, you'll hear them on occasion, you'll hear a jar bust inside. Sometimes that just happens. All jars are not created equal, and if you use your jars a lot, sometimes just the bottom may bust out or something like that. It just happens. It's not nothing necessarily anything you did. It's just something that happens, even in water bathing or pressure canner, either one. But just make sure when it's done, turn your stove top off, wait till this drops, then remove the weight, then open it up, and if you want to throw something else in to can it, put your water, more vinegar in, and then go back. If I was using like an old pickle jar or something from the grocery store, I would water bath. I don't think I would pressure cook, just because you can get jars super cheap at the Amish. I'm talking way cheaper than what you can at Walmart or anywhere like that, Rural King. On occasion, Rural King will actually bring in the exact jars that we buy at the Amish. They'll bring them in at Rural King, and whenever you see pint jars, quart, like for whether they $5, $6, and you'll have like the quarts for like 7 or 8. Them are the same ones that we get at the Amish store, but it's way cheaper to go Amish. It is. Whenever you do hamburger meat, because hamburger meat has so much fat, okay? So you actually take your raw hamburger meat, and we have a video, I think, on YouTube. We'll post that on there as well. Yeah, we'll put it on this one. But you boil your raw hamburger meat, and then when you let it cool, all the fat comes to the top, or most of the fat does. You take that off, you reheat it up, and then you can it. Now you still see that you got some fat. The only thing that I notice with hamburger meat, because you do add salt to it, like any of the meats that you can, you're going to want to add a teaspoon of salt into your quarts, or if you're doing pints, you're going to put a half teaspoon. Is sometimes the hamburger meat seems a little bit saltier. It seems like it enhances it. Now, I don't with the other meat, but I don't know why hamburger meat, but it just does. So sometimes I'll just take it and rinse it. Like I'll put it in a colander and I'll rinse my meat a little bit before I cook it. Unless it's something that I want kind of spicy with a little bit salt or whatever, then it ain't going to matter. It is a little different texture. Now, this pork or this chicken, either one, is just like you would do. But hamburger meat gets a little bit different texture. Think of Taco Bell meat. It's that kind of texture. It's really soft. But I mean, oh man, oh yeah, oh, it is. Like making soups and things like that, tacos, it's great. Now, if you use like fresh cow, you're going to have less fat. It just depends how lean your cow is. But if you're like using ground beef, saying 80-20 or something, you're going to have more fat. So you're going to want to definitely boil it to pull it off. But even a cow, I would boil it and pull it off because you want to remove as much fat as you can.
Yeah, let me say something too real quick. If you're into any kind of prepping. You know, like if something happens, you go to these places and you get the dried food and you can buy that, and that's pretty expensive. You can buy a pressure canner and do it yourself. This sits on the shelf. This is 4 or 5 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going to spend money on having all this extra stuff in case something happens, do this instead. This is a better investment. It really is.
Tastes better.
Well,
It
for
tastes
one,
better.
you don't have all the preservatives, right? I mean, because you're talking salt and lemon juice is about the only kind of preservatives we use.
They should have a few month stores.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're not doing it, you need to start doing
Yeah.
it. This is the best way to do that. Right here.
And another thing, so we have 3 boys and 1 girl, right? So it's so easy for them to go in the pantry and get a thing of burgoo because we'll do a big pot of burgoo and then we'll spend 2 days canning it all. So it's easy for them just to go get a quart of burgoo or a quart of mutton or pork or whatever in that right canning. Yeah, she takes shopping in my pantry. So because it's easy, right? You just get it, you pull it out, and you can do it. And really, you could open this jar right here of pork and not heat it up and just eat it right out of here. I mean, seriously, it's no different.
Candy burger too, Brett.
Yes, I pressure can burger. I actually pressure can chicken noodle soup. And the first time I did it, I thought, man, my noodles are going to be mushy. They wasn't. It was the weirdest thing ever. They were not. They were not mushy. I don't know why. Mm-mm. They just wasn't mushy. I thought for sure they were going to be. Because at first, when I first started doing it, I just did like the broth, the celery, the carrots, and the spices. And that way I just added my noodles. And he was like, you need to try to just do it with the noodles. That way if the boys wanted or whatever, or Mackenzie, that they could just pour it out. Yeah, if Campbell's does it, why can't I do it? And same thing. Yeah, so chicken noodle soup. Well, 13 is not going to happen. When it gets up to 15, it's going to get to rocking. I mean, you're going to know. Like I said, when it gets to 15, you're going to hear it. Huh? It won't mess up what you're canning, but that's the thing is you don't want it to blow. You don't want it to get too hot. And then when I say blow, I mean, has there been canners that exploded? Yes, but you're going to have it. You have to really leave it in there and whatever.
You'll get it down. What I do is everything's on high, put my cans in, seal it. As soon as I seal it, I go and I hit it to medium. We have a gas stove, so you'll kind of get used to it. I hit it to medium high. Just drop it a couple notches back, and then I watch it and it starts climbing, right? And then once it hits that 10 mark, I drop it back to medium. And usually it'll go up a little bit more and it'll kind of just wait. And then you can watch it. You'll get used to it.
Yeah, all stoves are different.
And you may see it drop below 10 and you go, oh, and you turn it up a little bit.
That's okay.
So it doesn't hurt if it goes below or up. The only thing you don't want it to do is to blow this pressure thing out. If you're not watching it, it blows this out. You probably blew up all your jars. You're not going to explode a canner. I don't think there's any way to explode this canner.
It's happened, but it's rare. Meat, you want to watch it because you want to keep that 12 pounds of pressure for 90 minutes. You want to do that. Canning. Now, do I have a freezer? Yes, I have what's called the dead man freezer. It's huge. Actually, you can put 3 dead bodies in there if you want. You know what I'm saying? It's that kind of freezer. So, yes, I do. But usually I use that like to, stuff that we're going to be eating during the week or whatever. Just whatever. Or my fruit or something I'm freezing. But canning, it's the best way to preserve it because even if you freeze meat, there's only so long you can do that without having to worry about freezer burnt or anything like that. Or like us, we had a bunch of stuff and we hadn't got to can yet, and our freezer went out, and that's how I ended up with the dead man freezer. So, if I'm going to have like my meat, I mean, most of the time I leave my rings on. If I take my meat out, when I get it out of there, after 24 hours, I take my ring off. I wipe everything down real good, and I'm careful because I don't want to knock anything, but it's sealed. And I will put my ring back on. I dry it, and I usually leave, especially when it's going to be long term. Like I said, I don't want a bunch of rings laying around. A lot of people won't because they're afraid they're going to rust or whatever. But as long as you go in and you dry them off, it's really not an issue. It's really not. And it just makes sure that it ensures and kind of helps, especially if, my kids getting in there, getting them out, they could hit and knock something and stuff like that. But I mean, I do like bean salsa. I mean, we got bean salsa out the other day. What was 8 years old or something that we ate? Man, that stuff was good. Just like I just made, it had mangoes and all that in it. So there's a whole world that you can that you can be prepared, especially if you need a meal quick, but also in case if something happens, you have, you have some storage that you don't have to worry about. Like when COVID hit and everybody was crazy about meat and all that, and we were like, psh, we were like, yeah, yeah, didn't have to worry about it. So because you got it canned. And we have some things that are 15, 16 years old. That's about as far as we've got some that we're testing to see how far so far. It's all good. I mean, anything that we've canned, so we've not had an issue. If it unseals, you're going to know it. I mean, you'll know it. You can tell that it's bad or whatever if it unseals on anything that you're doing. Whether it's open kettle, water bath, or pressure, you can tell. And I mean, we can, so we do pickles, we do our peppers, we do squash, we do tomatoes, we do meats, we do our pie fillings, our jellies and jams. We do all of our vegetables. I mean, now we'll run out of stuff here or there that I may have to buy, but we can everything. Beets. I mean, you name it, you can can asparagus. You can do anything. Okra. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you can do jams and jellies in your pressure cooker, but you're going to half it. You're going to half the time. If you're doing jams, it's 10 minutes. You're going to pressure cook it for 5 minutes. But if you want it to be stored for years, it's iffy. I mean, people do it all the time. I'm not going to say you can't, because like Rhonda says, if she's doing it short term, she'll water bath. Don't be scared that it's not. I'm just saying, I know people. You do. You got the numbers that they're going to eat that salsa. They're not. It's not going to last 2 months, girl. But I do know of a couple people that have water bath tomatoes and had lost them. Like they did it all. They did everything, and then they went to go open it, and all of it was spoiled. Or all of it, but like what she say, 5 jars. And I know a couple people that's similar stories that have happened to. And even now, adding lemon juice does help if you water bath. I don't know, did y'all use lemon juice in your salsa? That does help. So that's a little bit better. But if you want to do stuff for long-term storage, and for me is I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to spend days doing salsa, tomatoes, and stuff like that just to ruin. So it's not going to mush it. So might as well pressure cook it, and I know it's going to get up to 240, and I know it's going to be okay. It is quicker. It is quicker. Mm-hmm. So has anybody got any questions about pressure canning? When I say pressure cooker, that's just what's in my mind, but it's pressure canner. Sorry, I'm from West.
That brings up a good point. You may have something called a pressure cooker at the house that you use
It won't work.
to cook meat. You don't can in that. Right?
No.
You cannot can in that.
Mm-mm.
They do make I think a combo, maybe electrical.
They do make an electric canner, but I have not. I'm not. That's not. Yeah, I'm not doing
Make
that.
sure it's a pressure canner,
Mhm.
because there is a difference between the pressure cookers and a pressure.
You can actually raw pack chicken if you want. I mean, you can raw pack any of it really if you want. Yeah. Oh, you put onions, peppers, spices, and sauces, whatever you want in it. But you can raw pack chicken. I know a lot of people do that. I mean, the only thing. I mean, I don't know why it would be the difference, but just the fat. I mean, if you do chicken, you're going to have some fat, but not like hamburger meat. But you can raw pack chicken, turkey. We do turkey. Like he'll Thanksgiving, he'll smoke a bunch of turkeys, and then after Thanksgiving, I can it. So you can do turkeys, mutton, anything. You can raw pack.
Generally, where our meat can comes from, like if you do several butts, if you're going to fire up the smoker, you don't just do it for one butt. You do several butts. Well, you may not eat all that, so you'll can it. You'll can the rest or chicken.
Mm-hmm.
You have a big
Turkey, chicken.
yeah, turkey, chicken, things like that. So yeah, sometimes we set out to can just meat, and you can raw pack it. But generally, our meat just comes from leftovers. You don't want it to go bad. You don't want to waste freezer space, so you can.
Mm-hmm. But you can put anything. You put potatoes, celery, carrots, whatever you want in it. It won't matter. It won't hurt it. Anybody got any questions? No? Everybody good? Everybody feel comfortable? Think you can do it? A little more comfortable?